Alright, hi guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is my how-to video of a modern shag. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Susie Kim, and this is my lovely client and model, Zadora here. So I'll go ahead and get her hair wet, and we just finished our consultation. We're going to bring up her length first, and just kind of bring it up right around her armpit length. Generally, I kind of use the features of the body first to just really establish and we can both agree upon a length. And then what I did was just kind of go through around the hairlines just to kind of assess what her growth patterns are like, areas that if I notice any as far as density wise, areas that are weaker, if it's heavier. Generally most people are going to be finer in the front. You're going to see a lot more density towards the back. But another thing to take into account of is how high their hairlines go up in the nape and up and around over the ears. This is a dangerous area sometimes when we're especially layering through the hair. We can tend to create holes because the hairline sits down here. And once you get to the sides, they sit way up here. So, alright, so I'll go ahead and let her down for right now. And what I'm here doing is working in my major sections first. And what I'm looking for is just right in this back area is the crown. I'm going to work my sections just right point where the head rounds off to a point right where her hairline ends at the mastoid process bone. This is going to help set in my length and to create these nice strong corners that sit right behind the ears. And I've also gotten this section off from the sides to the back. Alright, so now what I've done is work a center section down in the back, worked in 2 horizontal sections so I get nice and even with my balance. And from this point, you just have to make the assessment of how do you want to cut your one length line. So she did mention she has a little bit of a growth pattern back here as well. So ideally, generally around a growth pattern, you don't want to work too much tension in. So what I'm going to do is work through my comb. The comb is going to give you the least amount of tension. Give you a nice, oh, there goes dog. And it gives you a nice control over the length. So working this through, I'm just kind of turn her around so you guys can kind of see here. And make sure she's sitting nice and straight, arms and legs uncrossed. And I'm going to set in my length. So I've already measured through what I want to take off. So I'm going to just hold it right through the comb. And hold my comb as straight as possible. And cut my line in. The line is cut without any elevation. So this is what's going to set in the perimeter of my haircut. Alright, so I'm going to finish up the rest of the line and stay tuned, I'll be back. Cutting the hair without any sort of elevation, I utilize my comb just to create a very minimal tension through the outline. Next I'm going to do is just kind of go through and start thinking about the layering process. I'm going to just lower my chair down, and she wants to see some movement, some texture, and she's kind of going towards more of a shag feel. So and that's kind of something that's been really trending. It's very popular. I think shags tend to be very flattering on everybody. But the idea is finding out the right proper length of the layer and where you want that length to sit. So everyone's going to be a little different. Sometimes if you go too short, those layers can stick up or you don't get the right texture. Sometimes you make them too long, the hair doesn't get any texture at all. So what I'm doing is taking a vertical section, just so you guys can see, the center back. And there goes my water bottle. And I'm going to turn it off to the side so you guys can see this. I'm working actually with the fine tooth side of my comb because I'm elevating the hair now. And when you elevate the hair, I'm lifting it up and off where it naturally falls. And the fine tooth of the comb is going to give me nice strong tension. And I see where the perimeter sits now. So it's just this little short piece where my knuckle kind of sits. And my fingertips is going to dictate how short those layers go. So I'm going to work in an anti-head shape layer, so really creating a shorter layering through the top here, and it gets slightly longer towards the bottom. If you're not ever sure what length to go with, you can always start off something longer, and then assess the hair, assess how the texture falls, see what the hair is doing, study it. So I've actually set in my first guide in. I'm going to drop that down. You guys can kind of see it goes short to long. Her perimeter is intact, and then I've got the shortest layer right here sitting at the crown. And so let's see how that looks. So I'm going to kind of play around with that. And what I'm looking for is her texture to change. So you can kind of see an area where I haven't touched it. It looks quite long, not seeing a lot of texture. And I know the lighting can be a little dark in here, but in this shorter bit, what I'm starting to notice is a slight S shape. So once I see the S shape, I know that she's going to get some nice natural texture. So what I'll do after this portion is work my sections vertically all towards the back and work with a little bit of over direction. Alright, so welcome back. So I just finished and completed the back for Isadora here. So you can kind of start seeing, if I just kind of rough up the hair a little bit, you can really start noticing a lot of the texture coming out. But while still maintaining the strength in her perimeter. And you can see the corners on both sides there. So that's what we call a square shape. And what I like to do now is start achieving the layers through the sides as well. So going to the sides, again, what we have to be very careful about is the hairlines through the sides. So I'm going to just take a little section here and just take a small portion from the back as well, as this will serve as a guide. Now, I need to pay attention to see how much of the hair actually literally drops out. Otherwise, I could really weaken the sides. So let's just turn her around this way so you can see Isadora. So I'm going to lift this up and just kind of see. So I see my guide through there. That's her perimeter, and it might be a little hard to see in the lighting here. So it's working just right up to the perimeter. For me to allow more hair to drop out, I'm going to over direct it towards her parting a bit more. And if you notice, I'm keeping my body standing in front, so that way I always cut these layers going from short to long. And sometimes what you can even do is just leave a little disconnection. So I'm going to just leave that little corner out just to serve as strength. So when I comb that down, you can really start seeing that length right through there. So I'm going to do this for both sides, and then I'll come back through. I just completed both sides for her, so for Isadora. And again, so I started my layering in the back and worked my way towards the front. And the reason why I chose this method versus maybe possibly starting to layer in the front is in my consultation. She has specifically mentioned how she really enjoys having hair come forward. So what that means is working something a little bit more triangular towards the front, which means that will push the hair forward onto the face. If I start my layering in the front and pulling it forward, that naturally helps push the hair back and off the face, which we call a round shape. So I just finished anyway, so you can kind of see all the movement in the front. And she's got some nice, beautiful texture happening. So I'm going to start blow drying, and then we just kind of talked about the fringe a little bit for her. And she mentioned that she has a fringe that's cut shorter to the temples and just slightly longer in the center. And what I've noticed is just a little bit of weight in the center bit. So I like to kind of even out that balance of the, density. And so I'll blow dry and then stay tuned and you guys can see the finished results. Alright, so I've got her blow dried. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of lightly go back through the front hairlines and just kind of dust off the end. So what I'm going to take is a vertical diagonal back section here. So I'm going to show you guys in just a second. So we just got a nice little section just to the point right behind the ears, just so I have enough weight to work with in the front. Now the idea is not to knock off the length, it's just to kind of lightly blend some of this through. And I don't want to remove all of it because she's really liking the length in the front. But we definitely want to get rid of some of these little split ends in the front. So I'm going to stand in front, elevate the hair all the way up. And by lifting it all the way up, I'm able to keep this length at the bottom without cutting into it, which again in our consultation was expressed. She really likes that length long. And so ideally, I would just probably minimally just literally dusting off that front bit that sits right around the cheekbone area. So I'll do this for both sides, and then we'll go back through the fringe, which in the fringe, I want to just kind of work a little bit of a layering technique in the fringe area. So I'll work a little triangular section, you see here, and another side here, and split it in half. and then just lightly layer the underneath. So that will remove the bulk, but the hair on top of that triangle is going to fall over it to give the illusion of length. So it doesn't look too choppy, but just enough wispiness to blend it through. So I'll show you guys the finished results. But I just smoothed it out just so I can kind of go back through and add a little bit of texture to it with just a texturizing technique of point cutting. So thanks for tuning in. All right, bye.